Hello everyone, welcome to JoJo's Adventure, because today we're removing the key thing that makes everything bizarre. How are we doing this? Well, by removing the primary person who makes it all Link, Dario Brando. Wait, no, that's the other video. Dio Brando. I got this idea from the video where we had seen what Joestar had the best team, because people can clutch out difficult moments, you know. What happens when you remove the main person who makes it all difficult, who makes it, like, you know, so you have to clutch it out? This scenario changes up a lot, but let's see by how much. In Phantom Blood, with no person competing for the love of George Joestar, or, you know, the demise of him too, Jonathan lives a reasonably everyday life with money. It's not exactly every day. He's balling, but he and Arena still most likely hit it off. They knew each other before Dio, and Zeppeli is still searching for the stone mask. So he could eventually get to the Joestar Manor, but there'd be no initiative for Jonathan to train or learn Hamon because, well, what for? Dio contributed to Jonathan's drive to stop evil. He most likely won't be as strong as the Jonathan that we know, as he doesn't have the same issues to worry about. Unless Jonathan's archaeology got him to experiment with the mask, but that has an entirely different outcome for the future. And plus, if you wanted to see Jonathan as a vampire, I already have that video up. So in the end, we have Jonathan Joestar and Arena Joestar living happily ever after, as there are no issues in their life anymore. Next, for Battle Tendency, the Pillarmen have returned. Now, while Dio isn't around, the Zeppelis are. All of them, actually. William didn't die, Mario didn't die, and Caesar didn't die yet. Would all be around for this, in addition to the School of Hamon, which Tom Petty had hosted. It still has all the core members too, remember, Dyer, Straizo, probably some other people that they've hired, and I don't know. Loggins, I don't know if he was in there before Lisa, maybe, I don't know. Here's the issue. Mario had died in a goofy way before. Caesar's abandonment issues and training by Lisa had given him the grit to fight against the Pillarmen, and he still lost against Wamu, dude. Like, that's kind of crazy. So, tell me this. In a part where Joseph defeated all three Pillarmen, you know, now that there is no Joseph, at least like that, what do they do now? Now, I think the people have a fighting chance if gravity directs the Zeppelis towards a stand user or an individual who's around that time. Or, you know, if they find another Joseph somewhere else in the world, but I don't know. Right now, I think the Joestars are cooked. Especially if we're not using the whole thing that fate gravitates to a Joestar focused outcome and all that. If they don't, well, you know, that's the end of the universe as we all know it. But let's take the angle that they eventually find someone suitable enough to train. You know, let's call this person Joe. Right? Let me try some variety. We have Joe. We got Keem. Actually, yeah, they lost Lisa too. Yeah, we're gonna need one more person. All right, our new team is 3 Zeppelis, 2 stand users named Joe, Keem, and a third one named Allen Iverson. Yes, I threw in a third. Yeah, sure. Okay, fine. What's wrong? What's wrong? They most likely need it. They need a third. And no, this isn't, you know, Allen Iverson that everyone knows, you know, has no relationship to the basketball player. They just happen to have the same name, you know? Look, man, like, I asked, who else could we get help from? Who else besides the answer, right? But again, no relation at all. So in this adventure, all 3 Zeppelis die because fate finally catches up to them. Maybe they die together. That'd be a cool thing. Dyer dies, Straizo dies, Tom Petty probably already been dead. So then you have all the 3 stand users who are now trained in Hamon. Cool, nice. They exist and they help defeat the Pillarmen. Yay! So like, what's next after that? Well, there are no Stardust Crusaders because there's no Dio. But do you know who is still around? It's Kira and Diavolo. It's usually how they end up. And honestly speaking, I think fate could have taken care of those two, but as, you know, what we said in place, it's looking pretty bad. Even with our, in quotes, new stand users, we're still missing the Speedwagon Foundation, who helped the Joestars get everywhere and do everything. 2 to 3 random stand users alone aren't just gonna be this driving force that wraps up everything wrong with JoJo, at least in the JoJo's Bizarre Adventure universe. It's just not a sustainable set of power, and we could not really expect much from them, especially considering that, say that we found these stand users in part 2, they'd be too old to help or do anything around parts 4 and 5. You saw Joseph, you know what happened, and the only way for someone to beat Kira and Diavolo is really luck and hope that someone good comes around, because, you know, the enemy stand users might not be enemies, and they could have been helpful to the regular people, but, you know, certain people don't work or happen. You know, that's just how that works. Keicho originally got the arrow from Enya. This only happens because of their connection with Dio. No Keicho means no Akira, no Heaven's Door for Rohan, no Love Deluxe, and as a matter of fact, just look at the screen. This is everyone that Keicho has a hit with an arrow. It's a lot of people. It's wild, even. I don't really know what he was doing with all that, but he was doing it. But, you know, Yoshihiro gets one anyways. He gets a stand, and Yoshikage also gets his. And there's also a few other people over here, but at the same time, this was done to protect. I don't really need to do that, but it happened. And, you know, sharing some similarities here. The same thing that happened with Yoshikage still getting his. Diavolo still gets his too, which means he has King Crimson, which connects to Polpo, and Black Sabbath, which connects to everyone who has been granted a stand in Passione, at least by Polpo. So you can see this image right here. It's Bruno's team. This situation sucks, but what's worse, it's honestly up to you to choose. You know, this, you know, where there's no Dio and stuff is happening like this, or Pucci resetting the universe. It's up to you, honestly. Because let's think about this, all right? In the current state of how it's going right now, Kakyoin's alone. Iggy and Avdol are fine. They're pretty good. Polnareff still wants revenge. And the Nijimura family might be homeless. Because, you know, it was bad times, turned to Dio, good times, and then bad times after that. But it might just be bad times, and good times after that. You know, they could still bounce back considering the times they're in. And plus, you know, you can't just, you know, you never lose hope, because, you know, hope's all we got. I remember a quote, something like that. Koichi's alone, but Yukiko could gravitate towards him even without both of them having stands. It could just be something that they just matched up in. As for the Part 5 crew, they're completely screwed. If they try fighting Diavolo like this with no Giorno in the back, it's done so. Because every team needs a support player. Your tanks and DPS can't do their job if someone isn't in the back helping them out. You know what I mean? And if you're fighting a stand that manipulates time, you're gonna need support. You just do. Bruno can be a support. He's shown his ability to just like, oh, okay, I zipped you back up, you're good. Giorno creates like whole organs, you know? Like that's kind of the good part about having the guy. And oh my god, I just realized Hermes is gonna be in prison still. And she's gonna be in there for like 8 years trying to kill Sports Max. Oh, this sucks. No. Oh, I'll wait for her. And you know, it just, you know, adding Dio to like a whole like this scenario sucks. It's unfortunate, but adding Dio to the universe, you're all like, ah, man, that doesn't look much better. Like it's really not that much better. It's everything still goes wrong, but just, you know, at least you have the adventure. You know, while Dio caused an unreasonable amount of strife for the world, he did do a good job at keeping the story going. And that's all we can really give him, because, you know, honestly speaking, because Dio doesn't exist, this gives room to like the next minor antagonist trying to make it big because they don't have someone that's on their head, you know, because there's no Dio. That means there's no person that checks everybody. It's free game. Why? That's just how that is. You know, there's this movie, The Gunfighter, 1950. Essentially, everyone wants a piece of the famous Jimmy Ringo, the fastest draw in the West. Everyone wants to be the one who took Jimmy Ringo out because, you know, he's a focal point of power. He's like, oh, the fastest in the West. And Dio was just the strongest of all. But it's just like, oh, he's too strong. Let's just, like, submit to him because he's actually that guy. You know, other stand users didn't have a chance of beating Dio. They could have tried, but they didn't. And because of that and his smooth talking, Dio's version of evil and chaos had a lot of direction and help. A lot of people Dio hired were originally out and about because, you know, they're just on their own stuff, but now their own job just became take care of the Joestars, and that's all you have to do, and I'll give you money and all that type of bull stuff. But I won't kill you to some, like Whole Horse, which led up off the heat of the regular people to an extent, kinda, maybe not all the time, because, you know, Dio had a lot of political power too. It's and honestly could care less about the everyday person. But it's like he couldn't care less, clarified. Dude, it's a damned if you do, damned if you don't thing. Keeping Dio in, we all go to hell. Keeping Dio out, we all go to hell. It doesn't get any better. This is all bad. And the only people who live well are most likely the Joestars, which is just bonkers. But I guess that's good for them because there's a universe out there where they're not suffering. Because you have to consider it. If they're just going off of the whole Joestar wealth thing, that means Joseph's balling, Joe Turtle's balling, Jolene's balling. They're just generational wealth. You know, that's some BS, but they got it, I guess. And I guess this universe, this made up universe here, at least they're not suffering. You know, at least that. A lot more people are, but you choose your battles, I guess. But yeah, thank you all for watching. Everything went wrong, and I love you for it. Hopefully, I'll see you all in the next one. Until then, peace out and Godspeed.